fucking sucks. But it fuses with a monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense. Reichheart, Rhinoheart, Riseheart, and then 2 random monsters with his stat line: Infinitrack, Drag Shuffle, don't tell peeps, and Wind Up Zenmaines. This was told to me by Dire Yu-Gi-Oh! We are literally just going to be normal summoning tour guide once again. We're going to be making Zenmaines pass. That's the play. And then new archetype I have not read. Find inner peace with Mana Dome. When Rhinoheart be giving me head, I say, man, a dome. I don't know. So I assume that this is the last guy. Like, there can't be any more guys, right? So he says, if this card is in the hand during the main phase, target a Monodome or one monster with 1521, destroy it, then special summon. And if it's special summoned, add one from your deck to your hand. Hearless is the Pellerino, or the Primeval world. It says you can only special this. It says if you control Vsauce, you can special once per turn. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, special and Hearless from your deck. And then during the battle phase of this turn, Synchros gain 500. Meek is the Pellerino one. Same deal. Increases the level of a monster special by this effect by 2, and their boss is Primeheart, level 10 Fairy Synchro, can attack a number of times equal to the number of tuners used as material. Notably, this does not need a non-tuner. It could be all tuners, like Gotham's. If the Synchro summoned card leaves the field due to your opponent, special a Vsauce Starfrost from among your banished monsters. Among! Mononome Imagining. It's just trade-in. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a monster with 1521. It's treated as a tuner. And Abscission, this is where you see them all being destroyed. Target a monster you control, destroy it. Add a Colorum or Monodome spell or trap card. You can banish it from your graveyard to special summon a Vsauce. And then what the fuck is this? 5th Destruction World Calarium. What the fuck is going on here? When this card resolves, you can add a Mana Dome monster or a Vsauce Starfrost from your deck to your hand. Light monsters gain 100. If a tuner monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, bring it back. New bad guy? I think he's the good guy. Target a tuner or synchro in your graveyard, special summon it. Destroy a monster your opponent controls with equal or lower attack. Okay. And then this one's interesting. So, can someone explain to me what's going on in the Vsauce lore? Oh, good. Lore about the new cards. So it's like, this isn't our Vsauce, right? It's the 5th Vsauce. And the other 4 Vsauces fused into Giga Vsauce. And now they're trying to kill Ultra Vsauce. This storyline fucking sucks. I'm sorry. I'm really, really invested in how the Springans, Sprite, Tri-Brigade, Fallen of Albaz, Ecclesia story wraps up. I think it's super interesting, and I love all the characters, and they're so cool. I could give a fuck what happens to Vsauce. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care at all. I'm not remote. I speak for everyone when I say we don't care. We don't care. Oh, yeah, and new Super Heavies. I read these on my own time. These are unreal. These are unfucking believable. I want to play Pendulum. I fucking hate the archetype. You know, I say that every time, but I think I'm secretly just a big Pendulum fan. This shit's monkey board. This shit's monkey board. You know what else? All the new cards are crazy. They're enough to play Super Heavy Samurai. Like, I'm considering playing Super Heavy Samurai. That's how excited I am about these cards. Did you see GCD's tweet? No. What'd GCD say? Speaking of Pendulum, I got a JJ deck for you in 2017. The fuck? Well, we just recorded 2016 part 1, so hand it over, but for what reason? It enables a 1-card FTK, and that's Pendulum, baby. Big day for people like me. Yeah, no, I mean, Super Heavy Samurais play a huge role in the boys' Yajiro Invader deck. Soul Piercer. To this day, he is half of my soul. Soul Piercer is just such an unbelievable card. To this day. There he is. Due to DB awkwardness, I'm going to put Yajiro in my spell and trap card zones. Yup. Oh, he is coming. The thing about him is that he is coming. Oh my god. That's an FTK. So if you're unfamiliar with what's going on, Iceberg Narwhal says, each time a monster you control is destroyed by your opponent's attack or card effect, they take 6. Yajiro Invader is going to move to the same column as Samurai Destroyer, destroying it. They'll take 6. Samurai Destroyer's effect triggers, which allows you to target a machine monster in your graveyard, special it. You summon it to the next zone over. Yajiro moves, pop Samurai Destroyer, back and forth until the end of time. What did he need to start this? Just him. Whoa. That's unfucking believable. Wait, the investment in this is crazy. It's 1 Shark Cruiser. 1 Shark Cruiser, 3 Greethus. Everything else is like a normal card. Whoa. Yeah, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. I'm so happy they're printing stupid cards that FTK. It's just a lot of fun.
Countless champions have been crowned throughout the history of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! But what about the underdogs, the dark horses, the decks that upon first glance make you question everything you thought you knew about the game? In this series, both MBT and myself will be showcasing some of Yu-Gi-Oh!'s wackiest unsung heroes. Each episode will feature new decks, new strategies, and the results will be unpredictable. You've seen the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but this is the history of Jank. My name is Alex Simo, and I have ulcerative colitis. Ulcerative colitis is a chronic inflammatory disease that affects the lining of the colon, causing the formation of small sores and ulcers, as well as a plethora of debilitating symptoms. I've lived with this miserable disease for 15 years, and there does not yet exist a cure. That's why for the month of December, I'm helping raise both money and awareness for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation so that no one has to suffer like I have. For every milestone achieved through your donations, I'll be making dedicated videos for your enjoyment. All proceeds will go directly to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Click the links down below to donate now and to learn more about my story with ulcerative colitis. Together, we will find a cure.
Well, folks, it is an indeterminable time from between 2013 and 2014, and Hunders are playable. If you're unfamiliar with Hunders, we have taken a look at them on History of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but the more popular build at locals and regionals a little bit later was this. Hunder Battery Man. Now, it's not hard to see why. The Hunders were an exceptionally cheap series of cards. Each one allows you to normal summon a level 4 Light Thunder type monster from your hand as an additional normal summon except itself, and they can be searched by Thunder Seahorse, which prohibits you from special summoning the turn that you activate its effect. The glue that ties this deck together is this, Battery Man AAA. When this card is normal summoned or flipped face up, you can special a Battery Man AAA from your hand or graveyard. By going for a Thunder Seahorse in order to get a couple of copies of Battery Man AAA, you can set one during the turn you're not permitted to special summon, and then have a rank 4 on normal every single turn for the next couple. Add to the mix a card like Recycling Batteries, and you may well just never run out of material. Additional copies of Mahunder and Pahunder can translate into additional rank 4s, which is astounding during this time because of the incredible options available. Unfortunately, this is a lower power deck, and as a result, in order to make it to the turns in which these rank 4s are going to be impactful, we have to play terrible cards like Threatening Roar and Waboku, but those should line up really nicely against what Alex is playing. I'll just give you a quick once over of the card by card. 3 copies of Battery Man AAA, 3 Mahunder, 3 Pahunder, 3 Photon Thrasher, 1 Sishunder, 3 Thunder Seahorse, 3 Vylon Prism. This card, if sent to the monster zone to the graveyard, can pay 500 life points to target a face-up monster you control and equip it to the target. This is also a tuner, which means you can easily get a 3800 attack point Crimson Blader, which is the main way you are able to beat Dragon Rulers at all. Otherwise, you have almost no game against them whatsoever. We've got a Bomb, triple MST, triple Duality, triple Batteries, 1 apiece of Reinforcement of the Army, Bottomless, and Compulse, and then 2 Breakthrough, 3 Threatening, and 3 Waboku. In the side, we've got Maxi, Darkhold, Forbidden Chalice, Forbidden Lance, Xyz Encore, and Royal Decree. And then in the extra, we've got Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragon, Stardust, and Stardust Spark. Constellar Omega, one of the 2/4s that this deck uniquely has access to. This can only be made with 2 level 4 light monsters, and during either player's turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this to make all Constellar monsters you control unaffected by spell trap effects. Ptolemy M7, which you can of course overlay on top of the Omega. Gaga Cowboy, Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger, which you can overlay on top of the M7. Black Ship of Corn, Photon Papley Operative. 2 copies of another unique light rank 4. This is Starliege Paladynamo, which can detach 2 Xyz material to target a face-up monster your opponent controls, change its attack and defense to 0, and negate its effects permanently. If it's destroyed by an opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. And finally, the 3-mat Vylon Die Sigma, which is basically relinquished. I love this deck. I love playing it. It's heads up. It's straightforward. Let's go clean Simo's clock.
Damn, do you guys remember this shit? Remember when the Cyber Dragon structure deck first came out? Oh my god, I remember everyone was playing this. And it wasn't because it was good, it was because people just love Cyber Dragon. There's something about this card that's so nostalgic for so many people, and while it had its time in the spotlight competitively speaking, if they made a structure deck surrounding it, you knew it was going to sell just because of how much people loved this archetype. So why not continue to flesh it out? I think one of the biggest issues with Cydra is that the card itself is fantastic, it's just all the cards surrounding it are pretty terrible. So let's go ahead and do the card by card, ladies and gentlemen. This is what a Cyber Dragon deck would have looked like around the time the Cyber Dragon structure was released. I'm not sure if this list was from a regionals or from a locals or wherever it may have been from, but it looks like someone just took the structure deck and times 3'd it and just made a deck out of it. But that should be a lot of fun. So let's see what we got. So we got 2 card cars. Card car is nice because if you go first, which you don't really want to with this deck, although it's weird because you want to set up like Lance or MST or Trap Stun and then do your combo, but card car is nice because turn 1 you're probably not doing anything anyway, so you can just draw a couple of cards for free, so that's fine. Triple Cydra, of course, because we need it. Triple Cyber Dragon Core, one of the new cards as of the structure deck, which is actually a pretty good one. So it's Cyber Dragon while it's on the field or in the graveyard, and if this is normal summoned, you add a Cyber Spell or Trap from deck to your hand. Now we're only playing 1, which is Repair Plant. We'll talk about that a bit later. And then you can banish this card from your grave to special a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck. You can only use that effect once per turn and only once that turn. So you can either add or you can summon. You can't do both. Then we have Dry. Now, Dry is neat because it's also Cyber Dragon while it's on the field or in the grave. And on normal summon, you can make all Cyber Dragons you currently control become level 5. This allows you to access the Xyz pool in Cyber Dragon Nova. It also allows you to go into Zen Mayo because the thing is, Dry locks you into machines for the rest of the turn, so that is quite relevant to remember. But aside from that, the fact you actually get to convert the Cydras into something else besides going for the fusion plays is pretty nice. Then we have Cyber L10, and this is a fantastic card. We've seen this plenty of times before. This is like one of the other few good Cyber Dragon cards, like standalone. And then we have Honest because, let's be honest, it's honest. Then we have the spells, triple Cyber Repair Plan. So this card's kind of neat. It's a Rhoda, but the problem is you need to have Cyber Dragon in your graveyard before you can actually activate it, which is kind of a dumb stipulation, like why, but it is what it is. So it has two effects. You can either add one light machine type monster from your deck to your hand, or target a light machine monster in your grave and shuffle that target into the deck. Now, the thing is, if you have 3 or more monsters that have Cyber Dragon in the name in your graveyard, you can actually activate both effects, which is kind of neat if you actually want to, allowing you to recycle some resources to make sure you still have Cyber Dragons to play with later in the game. But typically you want to be winning on like the first couple of turns, otherwise like what deck are you playing, right? Then we have double Forbidden Lands because we're trying to protect our big monsters from getting in. Limiter removal just wins the game automatically. Machine Duplication's cute, so you can target Core since it has 500 or less attack. And what's fascinating is that you can special summon Cyber Dragons with this because its name is Cyber Dragon, so that you can actually get 2 2100s off of Machine Duplication. Very rare interaction that comes up with this card. Diplomacy for the back row. One Day of Peace is very funny because it just buys you a turn so you can find a way to OTK. Double Overload Fusion just because it's a way to OTK. Triple Power Bond because we are playing the Power Bond variant of the deck. And with so many ways to like actually live, there are a realistic amount of scenarios where you could actually fire this and just sack your opponent with a 5600 Cyber Twin, and then one Upstart Goblin. Don't know why there's one. Maybe it's limited at this point, but it's hard to say. Then we have for the traps, triple Reckless, triple Threatening Roar, and triple Trap Stun. Again, just all things to either get us to the combo, or to protect the combo, or to not die. That's all this deck's trying to do. The extra, we have triple Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon because we're playing Cyber Dragon, one Cyber End and double Cyber Twin. Cyber Twin is what you're going to go into more often than not, and can come up if you need to do piercing, but Twin does more damage. Then we have a bunch of extra deck monsters in the Xyz department. So Armored Kappa, never summoning this. Pleiades is good, but the problem is like Dry locks you into Machine, so it's pretty unlikely we'll go into it. That's why we're on 2 Nova, because this is pretty likely to come up. This is sick because you can detach a material to special summon a Cyber Dragon that's in your graveyard, and then once per turn, it's a quick effect, you can banish a Cyber Dragon from your hand or face up in your monster zone to have this gain 2100 attack until the end of this turn. And then also has the ability to special summon one of the other fusions as well, so that's something to remember too. Then we have a Gusto Phoenix, a Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger, Volcasaurus, Tyrus Keeper of Genesis, and a Wind-Up Arsenal Zen Mayo. The side deck, we've got double Maxi, double Shared Ride, double Smashing Ground, double Blackhorn of Heaven, double Breakthrough Skill, double DNA Surgery, double Overworked, and a lone copy of Soul Drain. A lot of 2-ofs, but depending on the matchup, you can definitely shift a lot of these in and out. I'm really excited to see how this one goes. It's going to be interesting to see Cyber Dragon in sort of like its native state, like as Zane Truesdale intended for it to be played, and going up against other decks from around this time period. I'm curious to see how this is going to hold up. So ladies and gentlemen, let's not make you wait any longer. It's time to duel. Well, Joseph, this should be a very electrifying episode of History of Jank. Both of these decks, like on the surface, don't look terrible, but I think they're not exactly in their final form, if you want to call it that.
I think mine might be in its final form. I don't think there's ever a time where this becomes much more competitive than it is now. But yes, I would say that these decks are competent, which is not something that we get to say often about Jank. They both have game plans, so I'm excited to see what we can do with them.
Anytime that we actually have somewhat good cards in our deck, I think we breathe a sigh of relief, but the audience decides to boo us in the comments. So let's shout the patron, Jacob Stidham. Thank you for the support. I'm not going to click anything this time, buddy. I remembered. Do you have the hand up? Okay, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try a different die. Even.
It was even. Wow.
Wow, it works.
That's incredible.
This is the first time I'm going first, I think, I don't know how many. That means I'm probably going to lose, though, because I've been on just like a tear lately. Unfortunate. Maybe I should just let you go first in that case. But actually, with the deck I'm playing, maybe I should let you go first anyway. That was probably a mistake. We still get to draw for a turn, though, so that's fine.
Sure.
Best of luck, buddy. I have a back row. Go ahead.
All right, stand by me. We are going to special summon Photon Thrasher. We are going to normal summon Mahunder. Oh, I didn't think we'd get this far. We are going to normal summon Sishunder. All right, we are going to overlay Photon Thrasher and Mahunder for Constellar Omega. We're going to activate Omega. We're going to activate Sishunder.
Yeah, that's fine.
Combat.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go 900.
Take it.
24.
I'll take it.
All right, well, second main, we will set Wabaku. And then end phase, we will trigger the effect of the Sishunder and grab our Mahunder back.
That you will.
All right, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to draw. Maybe some quick math here. Don't mind me.
Come on, buddy.
I mean, I gotta go for it because it's the fucking cool thing to do. Activate Power Bond.
Yeah.
I will send 2 Cyber Dragons to the graveyard for Cyber Twin.
Yeah, sure.
So this is a juiced up
56?
Cyber Twin. 56. He's gigantic.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Cyber Repair Plant.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to add. I basically have to, otherwise, just doesn't do anything. Otherwise, let's grab ourselves a core.
Yeah.
I will normal core.
No response to core.
Activate core.
Yes.
With core, I will grab any cyber spell or trap. Well, this may come as a surprise to you. I'm not playing any of the cyber traps.
Did you not have
So I'm just gonna
overflow
grab-
yet? Oh, you literally didn't have overflow.
I don't think so. I think
right,
it's a little
sure.
bit too good for this point in time. We'll just grab this. Battle. 56 into 9.
It's still Waboku. I mean, it really.
You were not.
it
You were
was
not lying.
Waboku.
You were not lying. Okay. Well, this was very fucking unfortunate. Second main, I will set a card, and I will take 2,800 damage in my end phase.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
I'll draw for turn. Stand by main.
Yes.
Oh, he's just a 56 forever, isn't he?
He's just 56 forever. Yes, sir.
All right, we are gonna.
Why are you on main deck Waboku? Wait a minute, we didn't talk about this.
What's the issue? I don't see the problem.
Oh my god. Just trying anything to win at this point, aren't you?
We're gonna go normal Mahunter. We're gonna normal Vylon Prism. Man, this is. I'm gonna overlay Vylon Prism and Mahunter for Starliege Paladynamo.
Yep.
We're gonna activate Starliege Paladynamo,
Fuck.
targeting your.
What are you gonna target?
I guess your Cyber Twin.
Okay, hear me out here. Cyber Dragon Core could also go to 0.
That is true. That is. It's pretty much there already. Is the problem.
Fine.
We're gonna go for Sis Hunter here. We're gonna banish Mahunter. Combat Omega into Cyber.
I have Threatening Roar, but I don't know how this interacts with Omega, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that is actually a good question. I think that I still can't do it because it affects me, right?
I think it affects you, but this is like one of those weird gray areas. Let's look it up. So it does, in fact, stop you. Okay.
All right. See, we're chilling.
that's
We're
good to know.
chilling. Second main, I'm gonna set one and back to you.
Yeah, we're chilling with my 0 attack Cyber Twin.
What are you talking about? It's still the end of the turn, right? It's still the end of the turn.
No,
Give me
I
this-
wish.
give me this
Here,
guy
take
back.
some life points.
Yeah, sure. Take this too.
Yeah, get that back with your Sis Hunter. That's fine. Okay. Not so mighty now.
Wait, I'm literally cheating. Sis
are
Hunter
you?
triggers on normal. Like,
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So you're not
alright.
okay. You only get to do that. Wait, so you didn't get to do that at all then?
here, here's how we'll do it for the sticklers. You can gain 900, and I'll normal her on the follow up.
Okay. That does the same thing. That's fine. May I proceed?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna figure out a new way
Okay.
to cheat. I'm labbing them now. Repair plan.
Repair
is fine.
plan. We will grab ourselves. You know, it's been working so well for us. Let's take another core.
Yeah,
Let's normal the core.
that's fine.
Activate. We will grab, surprise, another copy of Repair Plan.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? Actually, no. This just loses me the game. Let me not do this.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
need to
yeah.
fix you. We're gonna fix me here too. So off the core, let's get dry.
Yep.
Normal dry.
Do you have Nova and Infinity at this time?
I will let you in on a secret. I have one of them.
Dry is okay.
Activate effect to make all Cyber Dragons level 5.
I think I have to breakthrough skill here.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Do I actually... Ooh. Oh my god. This is getting into some weird shit. No, I think I have to do this. I will lance my dry.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. Both my core and my dry are now level 5. But I can only summon machines. So I am limited in what I can actually do here. We will... See, you have an Omega, a Paladynamo, a Sis Hunter, huh? I think we can actually only go for one monster. Actually, that's not true. We can go for 2 monsters. The difference is one of them is just unplayable. We'll go for the Nova.
Yes.
I will activate Nova. We will... Actually, I think I'm going to detach the core.
Yep.
And after I fix this, let's go ahead and get our Sidra to the field.
Sure.
Man, this is awful. This doesn't do anything. Where's Infinity?
Very true. Very true.
Terrible. This is terrible. So, like, I can clean up 2 of your dudes, but then Omega just, like, clocks me. I mean, I guess that's all I have to do. All right, battle.
Yes. Where are we?
Attacking.
12.
And 100.
Yeah, and then I'll draw my card.
Get to draw off Paladynamo. This is where I would overlay for Infinity.
If I had one.
Yeah, but I do not. So instead, I will just be passing the turn.
Stand by me. Okay, I think we can probably clean this up. Ptolemy M7.
That's a good card.
I am going to bounce your Nova.
Can't use it the turn you Xyz summon it that way. I know, imagine this card being balanced.
I'm trying my hardest to cheat here. Legitimately.
I was about to say, you did say you were trying to come up with the next way to cheat, so I have to hand it to you. You did find it.
Well, I think I've got a very funny one. We're going to normal Mahunder.
Okay.
We're going to normal Thunder Seahorn.
Sure.
It's bleak. And then we are going to overlay for Photon Papley Operative.
That's, yep.
We'll move him to attack, and we'll try for it.
I think I should have let you go first, honestly. I think that may have made the difference.
I don't know. Set 1 pass was pretty crazy.
You know, it wouldn't have been terrible, but I didn't have enough attack points to kill you. I don't know why I opted to go first again. I was thinking maybe there'd be a reason to. Actually, there's kind of a reason for this. We will go set... this is actually kind of awkward. I'm going to go set 2 pass.
Okay, let's go duality. Wow, that's what we wanted. Okay, Thunder Seahorse.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
This deck has so many good cards that are just like, but you can't special this turn. We'll go Thunder Seahorse here. We are going to grab 2 Batteryman AAA. Skipping some steps there. And then, could literally be anything.
Could literally be anything.
Okay, back to you.
We'll draw.
Yep.
Normal dry.
That's fine.
I will hit the card that could be...
Again, literally could be anything.
Is that the end of my turn? I think so. I'll set another one. Go ahead.
Stand by me. AAA.
Didn't see this coming. Wow.
We're going to try
shocked.
to
Yeah,
summon
that's fine.
AAA. Anything here?
Nope.
All right, well, let's overlay. This one's hard. I really want to make Omega, but it gets blown out by what, like Honest?
Isn't Honest, like, limited?
Who knows? Let's go Omega. Battle?
Damage, step.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Yeah?
Limiter.
Okay, that's not as bad. I'm taking what here? 12?
You would take 12.
That's fine. See you next turn, AAAs. We're going to set 1 back to you.
End phase, my dry gets destroyed. Normal Dre. Dry, whatever the hell this thing's name is. Power Bond.
Okay. It's a Cyber Dragon, right?
Und 3.
Yes.
Battle.
3.
Compulse targeting Cyber Twin.
Oh.
Forbidden Lance.
Book the Cyber Twin.
God damn it. I was like, please don't have another out. Yep, that's fine. At least he's not 0.
Hey, but he's leaving. Get him out of here.
He is. Oh, because he's no longer affected. You're right. He is. All right, he's gone. You have 3 in hand?
I do, and one's a Batteryman AAA.
Space the back row.
It was Wabaku. I'll change.
I was never fucking with it.
This was a bit of a bleak one, I will say.
Go.
Take your 26.
Yeah, I'll take my 28. Whatever.
Let's go. Oh, jeez. Wow, that's a thinker.
I mean, thankfully you're playing rank 4, so I'm not dead.
We'll go AAA for AAA.
Sure. All 3 AAAs.
I wish. If he could get 2, he'd be a hell of a lot better. We'll go Omega again.
No, I meant you had all 3, period. I know you searched 2 of them, but
you know,
have
it is
the other
probably
ones. I'll take
actually
24.
worth just going for Paladynamo.
Okay.
You ain't got spell traps.
So I'll take, what, 2,000 instead?
Yeah.
Correction, I don't have spell and traps anymore.
Yeah, exactly, right. All right, back to you.
I do have Overload Fusion.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That is horrifying.
We'll banish... I guess we'll banish... I could go for End. I just think Twin is better for the damage.
Sure. We will...
Wait, I can't even do this! It has to be a Dark! What the fuck?
Yeah, he's terrible. It's just awful. You have to go for...
This deck's not even on anything that's Dark!
Huh?
It's not playing fucking Chimera Tank!
There's no way. It's not on any
This deck
darks.
is-
There's no way.
Well, correction. There's a Dark. It's just not a Dark that can be summoned. I shit you not. This deck is not
What?
playing a target for Overload Fusion.
There's no way.
I shit you. I'm looking at the extra deck on screen right now. There are 2 Cyber Twins, a Cyber End, and 3 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragons. There is
Rampage,
no Chimera
Rampage
Tech
wasn't out. Mega Fleet
Rampage wasn't.
out.
It has to be Over Dragon. That's the only thing that was out at this point. Wow. Thank you, whoever submitted this deck. I really appreciate it. I will set one and pass.
Okay, stand by me.
Wow. Talk about cheating. Wow, you really needed this to win, didn't
Oh
you?
my god. Recycling batteries.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're gonna grab both of our little guys. Oh shit, we actually can't because the guy has 16. Let's normal summon Mahunter.
Sure.
Combat. Wow.
Yeah. Threatening Roar.
That's fine. Second main, back to you.
This is jank, all right. This is fantastic. Great. I'm glad we did this. Glad we did this.
That
Reckless Greed was the next card.
that could have. I don't know what's really going on here.
I hate this.
What's the problem?
I
Oh.
This
man.
is what it take. This is what it took for you to win in jank.
It is.
This is what it.
It's like this is like the 4th week in a row I've been in the tank. Now I know how you have felt for the remainder of oh Jesus Christ, I'm not winning this one either. I guess we'll take Compulse. I almost want to
Yeah,
take
it seems pretty
Duality.
good against me. Also, main deck Wabakus, by the way. I still can't believe this. This is so funny.
Back to you.
Can I win? Nope. We're gonna go set 1, 2, 3, 4. This was the going first hand. Card.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that is not bad. That's fine.
I wish I went first with this hand. Activate. Okay, draw 2. Go ahead.
Awful, just abysmal. Pot of Duality.
I mean, sure.
Oh, come on. We'll take Mahunter. Well, I think any turn that I can't do anything particularly explosive, I'm supposed to just pass. Yeah, we'll just do that.
Why would you do that? Just play a monster. Play a monster, you coward.
I'm good actually.
Oh my god. All right, I'm gonna try to blind space the Waboku. This one.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not Waboku, it's Threatening Roar. The irony here is that this does actually nothing. This does literally nothing. I will set 2 more cards, and I will run out a... Do I even run that out? Doesn't even seem good. Fuck it. I want to get damage.
For sure, yeah.
18.
You got it. All right, stand by main. Mahunter.
No response.
Effect.
Sure.
Prism.
That's fine.
Let's make Constellar Omega. Battle. Wow.
I will Threatening Roar.
Sure. I mean, you got it, buddy. Back to you.
Draw.
Mm-hmm.
It's going well.
Mm-hmm.
This is going quite well.
They can't all be Threatening Roar.
This time I will take it.
They really weren't. All right. Second main, we'll do that, and back to you.
End phase, space the back row.
That's fine.
Okay. All right, we're slowly getting somewhere. Reckless Greed.
Okay, that's a card.
Reckless Greed.
That's a card too.
Wow, I hate this game. Okay. Special Cyber Dragon.
Yeah.
Battle.
Yeah.
What is the set? AAA? I know you're not lying. So
It's legitimate. It's AAA. Yeah.
It's literally AAA. Yeah. Second main. Let's just fucking do this shit again. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna end step Omega. Wow. Stand by.
Set up for Sis.
I know. Setting up for recycling batteries.
Yeah, that works too. Sure.
Normal Mahunter.
Yep.
Effect.
Yep.
Normal Prism. All right, we're gonna get a little saucy with it.
Are you?
Yeah, we're gonna try. We're gonna make Crimson Blader.
Synchro. Oh shit, that's a problem.
If this summon's successful, I'm gonna go for Prism's effect.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take 5 here.
So now he's a 38 Crimson Blader. Jesus Christ.
All right, let's try for it.
Damage step.
Yeah.
I got him.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm taking...
You take 21.
21, jeez Louise. Okay, I lose my Crimson Blader here, and unfortunately, Omega can't do shit. Yeah, back to you.
I would have preferred if you attacked with the... with the Omega, but that's how it is. Turn 1 on Reckless Greed.
Yep.
Go.
This can't be... You're up like 9 cards. We're gonna batteries again.
Jesus, not for much longer, I'm not. Yep.
We're trying out here. Mahunter.
Mm-hmm.
AAA.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make Paladynamo.
Yep.
We'll do Paladynamo. combat.
It's going well. I'll take 2,000 here.
And then, if you will allow it, 24. All right, second main. Back to you.
Space it.
It's breakthrough skill.
Sidra.
Yeah.
Attack.
Yeah, I'll take 1.
What was that about me having more
I
cards
see
than
what you. I see what's happening here.
Go ahead.
Stand by me. Prism.
You have the third recycling batteries? Oh no. You
Wow.
don't. Okay. Cry. Yeah, I'll take 3.
Yeah, we'll try for 15. Second main. Back to you.
I get to draw this
is the
turn.
draw, yeah.
Well, it's another one.
Oh, it's the third one that gets you. Yeah.
Kill the prison.
Yeah.
Go.
I think I'm actually gonna pay for the prism.
Okay.
he's like, this is gonna be a huge Omega. Oh, that's big. Thunder Seahorse is the draw, so we'll go Vylon Prism.
Here's an interesting question. If you activate Omega, does it negate Prism's attack gain?
You know, I think that
Is
it
it
does. I think that it
Is it considered an equip spell?
It seems like it would. I mean, it'd be funny, so I think it should.
Fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! All right, continue.
Why?
I'm kind of kicking myself here because I should have just lanced last turn to force you to use the material. I wasn't expecting to draw the third Sidra in all honesty, so I kind of just like fucked myself there.
Oh, were you lancing now or in damage?
Oh, in damage.
Oh, okay. I'll just take what? 5?
Yeah, now that you mention it.
That's cool. Second main will go Thunder Seahorse. And we'll grab double AAA.
Oh, wait, hold on. You're 26 because of the prism.
No, but the prism we said is a spell trap.
Oh, it's a spell. Yeah.
We might be wrong about this, but who cares?
Yeah, who cares? The game's already over anyway. Oh my god, thank you.
Okay, all right. Yep.
I don't even think it matters. I'm out of all the Sidras. Dry. Normal dry.
Yes.
Is this, I think, is this game? Oh my god, activate. I will overlay.
Yes.
Actually, let me think about this. Yeah, we'll overlay. Fuck it. Nova.
Yep.
We will activate.
Breakthrough skill.
Trap stun.
Ah! No! Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my god.
Well, this deck can win. It just has to be a fucking miracle for it to win. That's like the experience with this, right? I think people were so hyped when there was a Cyber Dragon structure deck, just because obviously Cyber Dragon's one of the most fan favorite archetypes of all time. Nova's cool,
Yeah.
right? And the support that this deck got, because Nova's great. Dry is neat because it allows you to enable Nova, but also other machine 5s. Like this deck is on Zen Mayo, so you're not locked out of him. But then also Core, which I didn't draw this entire game. Core is neat because then it gets you the spell, which is just a Rhoda. It gives the deck a lot of tools that if you wanted to play a Cyber Dragon deck, you actually now have the ability to. Is that a good thing? That's but I think most people just preferred to try to play this deck more pure instead of playing Cyber Dragon in a machine deck like back in the day where you'd play it with like Cyber Phoenixes, Dacoichis, like all this shit. You never really had the chance to do that. And with the ability to just have access to Cyber Dragon at all times, being able to play something like Power Bond isn't as much of a pipe dream as it was before because both Dry and Core count as Cyber Dragon in different areas on the field. So this was just something people would play on the playground. Maybe like someone got lucky and top with this as locals. If anything, it just was very funny just to get decked out by a fucking Cyber Twin that was power bonded.
Definitely it feels like kind of the Earth machine of the format. It does have like a really powerful resource loop in Core and emergency plant or whatever, repair plant. But you can also just randomly lose the game off the back of like Honest or Power Bond or big beefy men hitting hard. My deck's awesome. I talk about this deck constantly, but it's unfortunate that Thunder Seahorse has that special summoning stipulation on him. Otherwise, this would have been a very competent deck at most. Like, it is probably the most competent rank 4 spam ever gets. And this is, like, really rank 4 spam. It's not doing anything else. It's not like Fire Fist where, like, Bear is independently good, Gorilla's independently good. These cards are terrible. But they do facilitate some really interesting cards. Obviously, you saw Omega a couple of times. We saw Starleash Palette Dynamo a couple of times. One that I didn't get to show off but I really like is Vylon Die Sigma, which is kind of like relinquished. I really do think that the core of this deck, though, is Batteryman AAA. And if we had maybe a couple more ways to find it, it would have been just a little bit more competitive. But this representing like a rank 4 every turn, and then sometimes 2 rank 4s every turn, depending on how Maw Hunter and Paw Hunter stack up. And then you can get them all back with recycling batteries to continue to do it, is too much for a lot of decks to keep up with. It was not too much for Dragon Rulers to keep up with, which is why it's playing Vylon Prism and Crimson Blader, otherwise you have no chance whatsoever.
Yeah, when you're talking about like the rank 4 spam ability of this deck versus other options, I think like what makes it unique is how flexible it is. Because you're on lights specifically, you have access to rank 4s that the typical rank 4 pool doesn't have access to, and I think are like phenomenal, like Omega and like Paladynamo. They sort of have answers that the typical rank 4 pool doesn't really have access to. But also then, like you said with Crimson Blader, you have access to go into level 8 synchros, which again, a typical rank 4 deck just can't naturally do, and your deck has the ability to sort of facilitate that. Not to mention you just have so many ways to get your resources back between like your recycling batteries and just Sis Hunter and all these other means, that it truly is just like pumping out these cards constantly. I mean, you had like almost no issue doing that the entirety of our match that we had.
Right.
So guys, that's going to wrap it up for another video. I really hope you all enjoyed. Let's go ahead and shout the patrons for all of their continued support. So shout outs to Shao1317, 003, Moto, MBT Play Dolce, Cameron Smith, Pony Stark Part 2, The Synchro Guy, Dan the Manhoban, Phoenix the Immortal, I Ship MBT and Simo, Draconic, Jordan Coons, Iron Bladesman, Jesse Wood, Chris Hood.
Shit.
Well, we're here with DC Comics artist Freddie Williams for a review that's months in the making.
Yeah, months in the making. Yeah, thank you very much for having me, by the way, and I appreciate you dealing with all the reschedules, and even today it's been nuts, but yeah, thank you.
This is, the universe did not want you to come
No.
to our studio to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Or needed to put us here at the exact right time for us to make the best review of the Ninja Turtles 1990 film.
We'll go with that. Sure.
Yeah.
We're just going to assume this will be an epic episode. The making of it will just be a story that is told for the ages.
They got together to talk about the 1990 Ninja Turtles live action film.
Whoops!
Is it okay if we talk about the comics as well?
We're going to have to, man.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's
We're
such a
absolutely
foundation.
going to have to.
Well, that's a good place to start because the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, I went to see it as a little child, and I was familiar with the cartoon.
Come on, we gotta get out of here!
And so I was kind of confused by the movie. And then it was later I found out, oh, it's closer to the comic book.
See, I had the opposite experience of you, because I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, but from the time I discovered the comics, I was a far bigger fan of the comics. Yeah. So when the movie came out, I was pleasantly surprised it stuck close to the comics.
They didn't kidify it.
Yeah.
Come on, let's annihilate those turkeys!
Turkeys.
They did a little bit. It's,
Yeah, they
like,
pulled
it's very much a
some.
hybrid between the original comics and the cartoon.
Yeah, April O'Neil wearing the yellow raincoat, that's something that came out of the cartoon instead of the comics. Her being a news reporter. Yeah, stuff like that. So I think that the first movie, the 1990 film, did such a great job of balancing those elements. And my first experience to the Ninja Turtles was the role-playing game that came out, Palladium Books.
Oh.
Yeah, that
What
came
the
out. That was
fuck?
the very first licensing deal that Ninja Turtles ever had, and it was before all of the craziness that blew them up. This was
Was it before the
actually-
cartoon even?
Yeah, well before it. I had an older cousin who was really into the role-playing games, and so he was showing me, he had like this big stack of books, and he was going through them and showing them to me, and he was like, Ninjas and Super Spies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he went to the next one. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Go back to that. What was that? Because it was such a weird combination of syllables.
For me, it was a fateful trip to Sam's Club.
Really?
It was-
Sam's
yes.
Club had the comics?
Bizarrely enough, they did, because I was familiar with the cartoon. I think everyone was. It was pretty big, and I was vaguely aware of the art they used for the cover of the Nintendo game. That slightly odd style of Ninja Turtles art. And sometimes they all had red headbands for some reason. And I was at Sam's Club with the family, and they had just big packs of bundled 4 volumes of Ninja Turtle reprints.
Wow.
There, yeah, and some asshole had like ripped open the collected pack of them, and so it was a loose issue, and I just picked it up. And it was actually the issue where Leonardo gets the shit beat out of him by the Foot Clan.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, this is the most awesome thing I have ever read.
And that's in the movie. There's something similar, but it's
Yeah,
Raphael.
yeah.
Raphael in the movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
so in the comic, I mean, I think that is the best Ninja Turtles story that exists ever, but specifically in the comics. That's called What Goes Around Comes Around, and that's my favorite Ninja Turtles story of all time. And it's similar to when Raphael goes out in the movie and needs to like blow off some steam and he's on the rooftop, but instead it's Leonardo and it's Christmas time and he's out in the city. He's training, and then the Foot Clan start ambushing him from different like buildings from different blind corners.
And they keep cutting back and forth, like the rest of them. April and the other turtles have like a Christmas
I
celebration.
can't believe that was your first.
That
That's
was
so cool. That's the one that would grip you forever. You'll never get a better story
No.
than that, though. I mean, there's
No.
a lot of good stories, but that I think is the best for sure. Yeah. So, So in the 1990s film, they used a bunch of Mirage comics as the foundation, a very strong foundation. What Goes Around Comes Around, the Raphael one shot, which introduced Casey Jones, and then I think issue 8 and 9, which was kind of like whenever Leonardo has been ambushed in the junkyard, and then they cut away. They cut away at the reveal of the Shredder having returned because he was dead in the first issue of the very first Ninja Turtles.
Did Casey Jones just murder him like he does in at the end of the movie?
Actually,
Where he crushes them in a garbage
in the
compactor?
very first issue of the Ninja Turtles, because it was meant as a one-off gag.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's something we should talk about. The fact that this was just done as a lark.
Yeah.
And now it's been a franchise that's gone on for decades.
what started off as 2 guys doodling became a Daredevil parody. Because Daredevil fights a ninja clan called The Hand.
Right.
And so the Ninja Turtles, whose origin mirrors Daredevil's.
Yeah.
Because, like, supposedly the canister of ooze that blinds Daredevil is the same canister of ooze that mutates the Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Yeah. And Daredevil's origin is he gets hit in the head with a canister of radioactive waste. In the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles origin from the original comic books, a can of radioactive waste hits a man in the head and then bounces in the sewers. Yeah.
Yeah, this comic was done basically as a joke, right? But it wasn't a humorous comic necessarily,
Well,
right?
the joke was we're doing this grim, serious stuff, but they're teenage
But they're
turtles.
called Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles.
they're turtles, but they can be acrobatic and flip around and stuff like that, which is
Yeah.
part of the joke.
And that's when the movie's at its best, is when, because the movie is so much more like drab visually and grim and relatively serious. And if you watch any scene from the movie that doesn't have the Ninja Turtles in it, you would not guess that it's a movie about, guys in rubber suits
that's a really good point.
awkwardly fighting.
Yeah.
So the just the visual absurdity of them is the joke, which is why in rewatching the movie, I watched it for the first time in probably 15, 20 years in preparation for this. And that's the best stuff in the movie, when it's just played mostly straight, but then it adds like goofy sound effects.
I think that it really does strike the most fair and probably perfect balance of having some goofy elements, but it's very gritty. I mean, it's shot in a way that looks like I'm kind of drawing a blank on a movie that would be visually similar, but it looks like an adult movie, for lack of a better term. It doesn't look like it's phrased for kids, for kids to be like, "Mommy, take me to see that," because it's shot in such really heavy shadows. It's got a nice thick film grain.
Yeah, lots of backlighting.
Yeah.
It's funny, I always think of it as being like a super New York movie. I had no idea until researching for this, because like I said, I hadn't seen it in so long. Most of it was shot in North Carolina.
I didn't know that either.
I had no idea. I always think of it as being so New York. And they have all those little like fun little bits with New Yorkers. And like when Raphael flips over the front of the cab and he's like, there's a big turtle in a trench coat.
What the heck was that?
Look like sort of a big turtle in a trench coat. You're gonna look wild here, right?
The animals are knocking down the telephone poles. What do we do if they come over here?
Let them get their own cab.
How much creative control did Eastman and Laird have over the movie? I'm assuming it was a lot.
Yeah. So
Because they're interesting people to me because they made I'm sure they made a ton of money off of this.
an outrageous amount of money.
They also really seemed to care though, because from the time the cartoon came out, you think it would have been really easy for them to say, yeah, just do it like the cartoon. Yeah, fine. Give us. Yeah, can we count that money?
That's a perfect
Shower
impression.
me with $100 bills.
Right.
But it's like
No, they saved that for the sequel.
They
That's when
did.
they stopped caring.
Okay, so I've gotten to draw a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff. So Batman Ninja Turtles is the thing that I'm probably the most known for, a very popular crossover, and then I've gotten to draw a bunch of Ninja Turtle related stuff, lots of covers and some short stuff. So in that process, I've been lucky enough to get to meet and become friends with Kevin Eastman. I have not met Peter Laird. He doesn't do many conventions. He doesn't travel much, so I'm not usually in his neck of the woods, and I think he's largely detached from actual production of comics and stuff. But Kevin is very much in the thick of it still, and he still loves the Ninja Turtles. He's still a very, an old piece of advice of never meet your heroes because they'll disappoint you. And Kevin does not disappoint. He totally disproves that part. That if you ever have a chance to meet him at a convention, he's just enthusiastic and great. Anyway, he's a friend of mine, and I'm lucky that I've gotten to meet him through this and be so happy that he's such a nice guy. And so he's still genuinely interested in doing the Ninja Turtle stuff. So whenever it came time for that first movie, because they were Eastman and Laird were very much in full control over the property, they had a lot of input. So they were basically pushing it to be as close to the comics as possible, the Mirage comics. But I think that they use, in retrospect now, because I've been thinking to myself ever since we were talking about doing this review when we first started talking about it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What would I have suggested for movies 2, 3, 4 if we could somehow route it back to the Mirage comics? But I think that really the best parts, the ones that are the most accessible to the general public, were used in that first movie. Because after that, the plot lines get much more sci-fi and fantastical and mystical, and it
Alien
spins out.
Triceratopses and
Yeah.
It's some fun shit.
It would be. I mean, it is really fun.
Well, stuff you could do now.
Yeah.
Technology, but not then. Yeah. They could barely do the Ninja Turtles then.
Suck it to me, baby.
So in the first ever Mirage comic, Shredder was killed. He was killed on a rooftop battle. He's being defeated because there's 4 Ninja Turtles, so he's worn down. But because he knows he's about to die, Shredder pulls out a thermite grenade. So this is different than in the movie. And Donatello, from across the rooftop, he just throws his bow staff and hits Shredder right in his mouth, in his face, and he falls over the side of the building, and the thermite grenade blows up either on the way down or once he hits the bottom of the alleyway, the floor. And that's how he's dead. The turtles come down and they pick up his armor and they're like, he's totally dead. That's the actual dialogue. They look at the camera and they say, he's totally dead. He'll never come back. But then in What Goes Around Comes Around, the Leonardo one-shot, Shredder reemerges.
The shocking reveal. No, he's still
Right.
around.
And of course that's typical in comics and stuff, but for Eastman and Laird, who hadn't been doing, they hadn't really gotten into that trope of reusing characters that are coming back, Okay, so when I was thinking to myself, what would make sense for if I had rewritten the movies, trying to think of this as an experiment.
More yo-yos.
More sausages. But I thought to myself, well, how would you explain from the first movie to the second movie Shredder's return? So I just thought, well, what did they do in the comic? And I was thinking, did they ever explain it? So I was at a signing with Kevin. We were both signing, doing sketches. It was like a private thing, so we could just.
Let's see if I
Do
can
you remember?
It was like worms.
You do? Oh my god!
They fed the body parts to worms, and then Mystic Ninja stuff happens, and the worms eat each other, and a Shredder forms out of this.
You are fucking right.
Is he like a zombie?
No, it just comes back normal.
No.
There's some failed experiments.
Yes,
that
there's
are
a
like-
forearm one, and there's a real big one that's like the size of Colossus and stuff from
That
these.
kind of happens at the end of the second movie. There's the Super Shredder.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, visually there's a similarity. So I lean over to Kevin and I was like, hey. First I'm sorry. I texted him the week before and I was like, how did Shredder come back? And he didn't reply. He was replying to other stuff in texts. And then we end up at the signing. So I brought it up to him again, And he starts laughing. He actually looks a little embarrassed by it. And he goes, well, he was like, it's comics, so characters can come back. And I was like, yeah, but how did he come back? And he said, well, we had just read something about these worms that when they eat stuff, they like take on the genetic traits of the thing it eats. And as he's saying that, I was like, slowly looking at him like, where is this going? Worms. And he said, so, there was like 3 different shredders. I was like, oh yeah, I remember the one that had the 4 arms. He goes, yeah, well, each of those were like, there's like these space worms that basically the Foot Clan, to try to bring Shredder back, fed his remains to these space worms, and they genetically cloned him. And I couldn't stop laughing at this. I just kept going, space worms? And I was like, maybe I didn't want to know this. I am shocked that you knew this. Did you actually read all the way through?
I love those fucking comic books.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I love those space worms.
I love those space worms, man.
That goes without saying.
I think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is such an insanely versatile concept. The brilliance of it is you can do anything with it, and you can get away with something silly like that. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you can do serious, gritty stuff. You focus on the ninja aspect, or you can do silly stuff. You can focus on the mutant ninjas, the teenage ninja, mutant stuff, and just do goofy shit.
Yeah,
it's a weirdly versatile idea where they can do gritty crime stories and funky space shit and mysticism, and you can do worms. You can do worms. The idea is just, you can do whatever with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It does not matter.
Well,
it all fits.
The foundation for it is just something that was done as a joke.
Yeah.
And I feel like now, at least as far as, I don't know about the comics, I know they're still going on, but as far as like cartoons and then the recent Michael Bay movies, they all kind of follow a more sort of just like focused, kiddie-friendly version. I guess just based on still going back to the cartoon being so popular.
Yeah.
It's popular with kids, so...
Yeah, you have a couple of generations who mainly know the cartoon or the 2012 cartoon or the CG one.
Which I saw that once. I remember it being pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like the first 2.5, maybe 3 seasons, so maybe...
No, I'm talking about... Are you talking about the movie?
The movie is good, but I was talking about there's a animated cartoon series that Nickelodeon did that was CG.
Oh, okay.
And it was similar to, but not as dark and not as labored as the 2007 movie, where it wasn't as rendered and stuff like that, but it was still CG, a little bit more primitive. But it was actually a good series, though. The first time I saw any part of that, we'd flown to Australia for a convention, and you want to stay up late so that you can basically get back onto their sleep schedule so you don't have jet lag. And so I was like, let me just try to find anything to keep my brain interested because I was so tired. And I was sketching, but we saw Ninja Turtles, so we were like, well, what's this? And it was Michelangelo, and to disguise himself to go outside, he put a mask of his own head on, like a Michelangelo mask over his Michelangelo face, so he could be in disguise and going out. And it actually I felt like I was hallucinating. I was like, this is so bizarre, but it was really funny, and that's a real episode. I didn't make that up. But yeah, they oftentimes, I think there's a couple generations of fans that got into the kiddie aspects of it, and so be it. That's cool.
Well, that's how I got into it.
We got a score to settle with you little twipes.
And then when the movie came out, I remember I saw the movie, I think opening weekend, and it was at the mall movie theater, because malls used to exist. And the line for the box office went like all the way down the mall.
Really?
So in my mind, this was like the biggest movie. This is like Star Wars. When you see like the opening, lines for people trying to get tickets for Star Wars. It was like that, but it was for the Ninja Turtles.
As a fan of the cartoon, what was your reaction?
I loved the movie.
Okay.
But I was also confused at parts of it. Like early on, Splinter's talking about my master Yoshi.
A pet of my master Yoshi, mimicking his movements from my cage.
I was like, but he's Yoshi.
Yeah.
Because in the cartoon, he's just a man that mutates into a rat.
I think that actually is that's an improvement. In my opinion, of the lore, I think it makes more sense for him to have been a ninja master as a human than he gets mutated down to a rat.
As opposed to him being a rat that's trying to replicate his master's moves.
One issue joke.
Well, that
grew out of control.
And I think that works in the movie, too. Like I said, the visual absurdity without actually having jokes or even trying to be silly. That's the best stuff of the movie.
pork rind?
Pork rind.
And I didn't, like you mentioned that Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird had a lot of input in the movie.
Yeah, they did.
And I was looking up the director, Steve Barron. It was his first feature. He did a ton of music videos before it. He did like the famous Aha Take on Me.
Oh yeah,
animated music video.
That's a great video.
Yeah. And I was reading that he was almost fired from the movie for issues of tone, for making it too dark and too grim.
Oh.
And I think you see that like in rewatching the movie now, with kind of my older brain and thinking about it as like an editor.
Yeah.
I'm picturing there's 3 editors on the movie because they kept firing the editors too. One of them is Sally Menke, who's Quentin Tarantino's editor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Until she passed away. She did all of his movies. But I was watching the movie and I was like, it feels like there's parts where like there's goofy sound effects or the music is very lighthearted in certain parts. It all feels things like they were like the studio was trying to do in post-production to lighten the mood.
That makes
sense.
sense.
The cartoon was popular and we can't make this quite so dark.
Yeah.
So there's things where that's just all like post-production stuff that feels like, yeah, we gotta do things to lighten this up. Splinter pizza lands on his head. We'll add a cartoon splat sound effects.
Whoops.
And that's the stuff that has held up the least, like in rewatching it. I was like, I really like everything on the farm, all the farmhouse stuff.
That's from the comics.
That's all like, that's the best stuff in the movie. There's no, I mean, there's jokes, but it's all like character driven and dialogue driven.
Yeah. Well, to me, it balances perfect as far as the, you know, whether it was added in post or not, the little punctuations of goofiness, including the Shredder, the Splinter thing, not the Shredder, including, you know, Splinter having a piece of cheese pizza, which looks really good, by the way. Every time I see that, I think I want some of that pizza.
All that Domino's pizza. There's even a very small cameo by the Noid.
Is there?
Yeah, when Michelangelo's ordering the pizza, there's a little Noid.
It's your call. You can enjoy the fresh baked quality from Domino's Pizza, or take your chances with the Noid.
I didn't know that.
I never know. This is the first time I watched the movie in HD because I haven't seen it since maybe I saw the DVD.
Oh, is there an HD release that I haven't? Maybe I haven't seen
it's
it.
in HD
Okay.
now, and you can see that Noid. You can see at one
Clear
point
as day.
Donatello laughs so loud that his mouth opens, and you can see the stunt performer's face inside the mouth. It's very disturbing.
As far as the tone, punctuated with little moments of comedy, work perfectly, at least for me. I was a fan of the role-playing game, then the reprinted Mirage books, then the cartoon came out, and I thought like, that first like six issues, the first 6 episodes were pretty strong, good animation of the cartoon and stuff.
Oh, then they got super cheap.
They got really cheap just because they were doing like 30 or 40 episodes per season.
You do the first 6, you sell the show, and then you mass produce that shit.
Yeah,
and
I remember I haven't watched them since I was a kid, but I remember even before I kind of understood the technique of animation, I was like, the early episodes, like they look really good, and then even as a little kid, you can tell something changed.
Yeah.
Now, what's the deal? Because I know in Europe, they're called the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. It's just like ninja, just like a forbidden thing overseas, or what?
I'm not sure if it's the word ninja specifically is forbidden or not. So you're absolutely right. It is called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. And at some point, Michelangelo could not use his nunchucks. He had to use like a grapple hook in later seasons and stuff as some similar. It was like, I think the word ninja essentially means assassin.
Yeah.
It implies something very violent.
Well, even here, that was an issue. I know parents were upset about the amount of violence, which is why both the cartoon and the sequels to the movie, that's when they had to get rid of their weapons, and that's why the second movie they're using yo-yos and sausages. And the cartoon the same way. They didn't use their weapons ever in the cartoon.
It's like the end of the 80s or something, because like in the 80s, they made a fucking kid show on Rambo.
Yeah.
From the canyons of skyscrapers to the canyons of remote mountain peaks, Liberty's champion is unstoppable.
God.
I think it was worse with the Ninja Turtles because it was so explicitly aimed at kids, and kids were. I mean, I was doing it. My friends were doing it. We were playing ninja in the driveway, and it was too violent. So
do you have any footage of this? I'd love to see this.
I don't have any footage of this.
Okay, that would be awesome.
I don't even think I have any photos. I had
flipping.
so many Ninja Turtle toys. Ninja Turtles was the first, like when I was really little. I had He-Man action figures and stuff, but Ninja Turtles was the first like pop culture thing. Whereas like this is my thing. I'm gonna get all these.
Well, He-Man and the Ninja Turtles go together pretty well. The action figures, they're of similar proportions and stuff. Yeah. So.
I was reading up, and that's a big part of why the Ninja Turtles movie had trouble getting made. Is like every studio turned it down because of they were worried that it would be another Masters of the Universe type disaster, and it probably didn't help that the concept is so goofy.
See, that's strange to me because when they made the Masters of the Universe movie, that felt like it was about 4 years too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the Ninja Turtles, when they made that, the Turtles were still red hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're somebody who's overseen millions of dollars to invest in something, you might just go. You might not be paying attention to that specific time frame. You're just like, I don't know, it's the kid's cartoon that gets turned into a movie and loses us a bunch of money and kills the franchise and our studio at the same time. I know that in retrospect it seems like such a weird combination of elements, but I guess it hit me at just the right time that it's like I already knew what ninjas were because I had seen what was it, American Ninja or something? There was some.
Oh sure.
There's some ninja movies that I remember seeing a lot, and of course Enter the Dragon.
80s ninjas movies.
Yeah, and even though there's not a specific ninja in like Enter the Dragon, he's still very ninja, and Bruce Lee is very ninja-esque and stuff like that.
Martial arts in general at that time were popular.
So it's like that to me is a given. It's like that's accepted into the kid Freddy's brain. And then mutants, I love the X-Men, and there's mutant animals in that, so that's okay. And then there's, sci-fi stuff. So it's like, to me, it was just like, this is just a cool combination of stuff. But like any adult watching that or reading it in an office with a 3-piece suit, and he's going over proposed budgets, he's got to be like, what? What? Get this out of here. What are you doing? You're fired, actually, for bringing this to me.
I think they got most kids with just the theme song. Which appears nowhere in the movie.
To their credit, it would have been I was shocked at the opening logo. They're walking down the sewer, you just see their silhouette. They jump into freeze frames, and then the logo comes out, and it's the same logo from the cartoon. And I was trying to think if I'd ever seen. You could see the little R, the little registered trademark thing. And I was like, do you ever see that in any other movie based on something where they just put the trademark right on the opening title card of the movie?
I don't know.
That stuck out to me because it's like I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It's funny, you see that, and then the rest of the movie has so much integrity.
I mean, it would have been easy to make. I just keep thinking of the second movie. The second movie is what your worst fears of what the first movie could have been. Vanilla Ice and all that crap, and just the cartoony goofy tone.
Big goofy monsters, overly cartoony. Oh, you can't use your weapons. You got to throw sausages at the enemies.
Yeah. The biggest shock in rewatching the first one is from Splinter's very first scene. He's constantly beating it into their heads like, I'm gonna die someday.
You are still young, but one day I will be gone. Use my teachings wisely.
You're children, and I'm telling you this. Mm-hmm. It's almost a shock that he doesn't die at the end of the movie. I mean, I understand why he wouldn't. It's a franchise, but it's beaten into him so much where it almost feels like that's what it's leading up to.
Feels like there's a lot of gravity to that, and he feels pretty frail.
And it's played so straight. And again, that visual absurdity. Like there's that great scene where the camera's spinning around him and Raphael, and it's like right in their face.
I am here, my son.
And the animatronics are great because it's Jim Henson's company.
Yeah. There's a specific shot where Splinter is sitting on his chair, and he's telling Raphael to like kneel or listen now, and he's like, when he says the word now, his tail also gesticulates with his hand.
Couldn't this wait till morning?
You will listen now.
And I just noticed, because I rewatched it. I've watched that movie probably 100 times, and I've never noticed that. And I rewound. I was like, that's so cute. Look at that. Somebody controlled his tail to make him make his point more firm. I thought that was great.
Well, that's the hire Jim Henson's company. That's what you get. That's Kevin Clash did Splinter, who went on to do Elmo, which is so weird. But that was another thing I was excited about with the movie was the fact that it was Jim Henson, and such an odd project for him to work on.
And this is before he died, right?
It was one of the last things he did before he died.
Yeah.
But it's so, it is grim, it is violent, it's not anything like, the stuff that he was more closely associated with. And I think he kind of did it as a favor to the director, because the director did episodes of The Storyteller, if you ever saw that.
I have not seen that.
ABC series. It's a good show.
Is that a Jim Henson puppet thing?
Yeah, that was all. That was like one of, because Jim Henson, towards the end of his career, he was getting more sort of ambitious with animatronics and stuff, and so he did The Storyteller.
Wasn't it like a segment on a weird rebooted Muppet show?
The first half of the show was the Muppets running a
TV
studio,
station,
and then the second half was The Storyteller, which was these like fantasy stories, an
something
anthology
more
show.
in the vein of Dark Crystal, or Labyrinth.
Yeah, and so the director of this went on to do that. So he's like, Jim, come give me a hand. Make these turtles.
Help me do these fucking turtles. I have no idea how to do fucking turtles.
We've got there's a number of motors, and we're using a lot of radio control. We even tie a computer up with each of those characters, and a puppeteer operating the computer.
But their design is great too, because they're all distinct.
Yeah.
There's like slight variations to the sculpts of each of them. Like Donatello is a little more kind of boxy shaped.
Mm-hmm.
Michelangelo is rounder features. He's like the cutest looking one.
Yeah.
And then Raphael's got like a little scar on it. Like they all have different shapes. It would have been so easy to just sculpt a head and they'll all look
Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you look at the cartoon, they all look the same. And even most of the early Mirage, they all looked identical.
Yeah.
There was no difference. I think the main delineation in the Mirage books, which were black and white, which other than the cover, and the cover was monochrome red. It wasn't even... Like, even in that, you couldn't really tell them, like, if they had different color green skin or anything like that. But in any case, on the inside, they all looked identical, all four of the turtles, except for they had different weapons. And really, I think later on they added Donatello's strap, the real big, thick, singular strap. But in all the Mirage books, Leo has the thin straps. He was really the only visually different one. If you showed like a close-up of any of their faces, unless it was Leo where you could see the scabbards on his back, you don't know. I mean, unless they're holding their nunchucks up in camera or holding up, Raph's size or something in camera, you would just not know other than contextual clues from the dialogue or something like that.
Help each other, draw upon one another, and always remember the true force that binds you.
In the 1990s film, when they go to the farm, I get a little bit choked up every time they make astral connection to Splinter. Like they meditate, and then he like tells them that he loves them and stuff, and then Raphael and Mikey maybe, or
Michelangelo is like outwardly, he's like blatantly crying.
Yeah.
Which is, he's been just the comic relief through the whole movie. He's just been completely goofy. So to see him like get emotional like that, it is kind of shocking. And again, because it's great Jim Henson animatronics, they all have such personality.
They do, so expressive.
Where a scene like that really works.
But even as an elderly man now, I still, when I watch it, I get like, I'm like, aw. Like it touches me, and it's, such an old film, but it was done so well, So in the farm scene, Michelangelo, it was supposed to, in the original script, supposed to go into a darker character turn where he was supposed to become more grim and not be as jokey. So if you look at, there's two scenes that in the edit they voiced it over with Raphael's voice to make it Raph instead. There's the scene where there's a turtle who it's shot as Mikey, but it's voiced over as Raph on top of the barn, and he throws his hands up and he yells Splinter.
Oh yeah.
If you look close, those are nunchucks, and that's Mikey.
Oh.
And the same thing. There's another shot inside of the barn. I'm not sure. I think Mikey is punching the what is it called? The bag that you hit. What's that called?
A punching bag.
A punch bag. A punch bag.
The bag that you hit is the official
punching bag.
But that was supposed to be Mikey. It was basically a subplot that they cut out, I think, to streamline things, and they just made it where.
See, that's interesting because one of the things that really stuck out in rewatching it was that early scene after Splinter's like, someday I won't be here, and Michelangelo's waiting for the pizza guy to show up, and Donatello comes up to him, and they have this like quiet little moment.
Did you ever think about what Splinter said tonight? Not having him.
But Mikey just kind of blows it off there.
He's like, pizza dude's got 30 seconds. It's almost like he doesn't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So it kind of ties in with, if he's bottling this up, like the actual thought of responsibility. That's, like I said, all the best stuff is the farmhouse stuff, and it feels long. So it's interesting that it would have been even longer.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much they actually shot or whatever.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that is because Kevin was talking about it. He was describing it.
Time's up. $3 off.
I don't know if it's because I'm older, but I watched this and I think Splinter is my favorite character in this.
Well, he's
more interesting than the Turtles.
Yeah, well, this is, in rewatching it, I still like the movie a lot. Some of the goofier stuff, to me, doesn't hold up. But it's obviously, I'm not the target audience for it. The 10-year-old me was the target audience for it, and 10-year-old me loved it. But the stuff that really holds up is, like I said, the stuff that's played more straight. And I love the kind of dark cinematography, the backlighting. So that's the stuff that really holds up, and the goofy stuff doesn't, which is why I think I would agree that Splinter's the best character, because up until the very end, when he's like, I made the funny, and you roll your eyes.
I made the funny.
It just played so straight, but it's this big, goofy, talking rat puppet.
And then there's that triumphant moment where he shows up on the rooftop, and the puppet's like... It looks
being propped up by like a broom behind it or something.
Awkwardly, and they're just like, just shoot it fast. We've got 10 seconds to get this shot. You know,
Boy, it falls over.
He looks so even as a youngster watching this.
That whole fight is pretty awkward. The puppet has extreme limitations, so we have to cover this with 15 different edits.
Yeah. It's I don't know what they could have done other than making us, dressing up a little person as Splinter to get some motion out of it, or just standing there. But even just him standing there, he looks so awkward. It really pops me out every time I see it. And I'll even sometimes when I'm drawing, I'll have it in the background. And it's like, there's your favorite moments that every time I'll like talk along with the dialogue, throughout the movie. And every time at the rooftop scene, I think that's an awesome fight. I'm talking about the Shredder versus all four of the Turtles. That whole scene is fantastic. The lesson of you could have, with the loss of but one of you possibly could have, overpowered me. And then as soon as Splinter shows up, I just stop what I'm doing. I look at that puppet because it is so awkward the way it's standing.
That puppet has been tortured.
That's true.
That's true. He's very weak.
Okay,
so.
Good point. You're saving it for me. Keep going. Keep going.
He can barely stand. The character can barely stand. It's not an awkward puppet.
All right, you're winning me over with this. Maybe it's not a flaw. It's a feature. It's actually an improvement. Yeah, because he would be all broken up. They probably worked his ribs and broke his legs or something.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Well, it's doubly,
okay.
It's doubly distracting because I was surprised at how quaint the ending is. It's like it's just four people in rubber costumes kicking Shredder on this tiny rooftop set with this giant city backdrop. Where I was like, that is a backdrop, and it's so obviously a backdrop. And also, I don't know, even as a kid, this kind of distracted me. You could always tell when the stunt performers were doing the action in the turtle costumes, because they suddenly just have no mobility in their face. Yeah. They're stuck in like a growl position.
That's a good point. Yeah, and sometimes it's like the most severe growl they've made in the whole film.
Yeah.
And they're holding it. They look like they have been driven insane. And they can't stop doing that. And then they'll cut to a close-up. Yes.
Yeah.
Because Leo should, of course, get a gritted face when he's really serious. But of all of them, he should have the most composure.
Yeah.
So then when they cut to a shot of him doing stuff and he's just like totally torqued. His teeth, all of his teeth are showing. I did notice that. So. To the credit of the second movie is not a terrible film, but it is not nearly as good as the first film, at least to my interpretation or standards.
It's definitely more aimed directly at kids, as opposed to the first movie, which has a little bit broader of appeal.
They attempted to bring in the original plot for the second film was that it was the same plot, but there was going to be a reveal that the scientists working in the TGRI facility were the Ultrons, which are the ones that basically Krang's race. So there would have, potentially have been a scene where the main scientist man would have gone, and revealed a little brain thing in his stomach to set up Krang for a future movie or something. So I don't think they shot anything like that, but that was one of the original ideas. So I think Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were still involved and making suggestions, like where can we go? What should we do for a second film? And that was one of their ideas, was to keep it, because that would still fall in line with what TCRI is in the Mirage books.
Yeah.
Is that it's the same race as Krang, although Krang as a character is not in there. They're called the Ultrams, I believe. And they have like android bodies that can be disguised as a human, and they have the brain and the stomach.
Well, they're not very friendly.
But yeah, that's what, like, I think Baxter takes his Mouser inventions there to pitch it to them, because he knows they're a high-tech company and stuff. So, and Baxter's just like a regular human. He's not mutated as a fly and stuff. But that's where the Mousers would come about. So they were attempting to make the second movie go into some similar parallel storylines with the Mirage books. But maybe that was just a bridge too far for us to reveal at the end of the movie a Krang thing in his belly. Like, all the parents would have been like, what?
Eastman and Laird, they really seemed to give a shit about their vision when they made that first one. Why didn't they care for the second one? Or did they care? Or what was going on?
I think it was the speed at which it was. I think it was done in a year, or just over a year. The second movie
well,
was.
That was,
and
yeah,
so,
New Line Cinema. That was their model at the time. They had the Freddy Krueger movies coming out every year.
Yeah.
And I think they were trying to do that with the Ninja Turtles.
So I think that Eastman or Laird had to be. This might have been around the time that they were being sued every 10 minutes.
What were they being sued for?
Basically for people trying to get a cash grab, a settlement out of the deal. So it would be. I don't know the specifics. That's not something that Kevin's told me particularly. I've read interviews and heard interviews where they talk about it. But it would be somebody who claimed that they had an idea for, ninja animals or something, and or, I had an idea once of a guy who did things. Thus, you took that because you have a guy who does things. As much money as they had, they were just such a prime target for that type of. I think overly litigious, irrelevant sort of lawsuits.
I invented the idea of middle-aged Buddha beetles.
Right. Yeah, and now we're talking about something that's.
What was that? There was a ninja. I mean, there was a ton of Ninja
Kung
Turtle.
Fu kangaroos, biker mice from Mars.
But there was like big bad Beetleborgs. Is that same era?
Wasn't that more of a Power Rangers ripoff?
Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know.
A little bit of both.
Sure.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Street Sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a ton of Ninja Turtles ripoffs.
And Battletoads, I'll say it.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the second film, April O'Neil, who's not nearly as charismatic as the original April O'Neil, who had a beautiful, brilliant smile. Whoever the actress was in the first Ninja Turtles film, she had a beautiful smile. It just made you feel like you knew her, immediately.
I'm in love.
I've seen her at conventions. I've never spoken to her, but she still has that smile.
What's her name? Judith Hogue.
Yes, it is. You're right.
And her, the chemistry with her and Elias Koteas as Casey Jones. Again, all the stuff in the farmhouse. It's the best stuff in the movie.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's kind of like
calling her
moonlighting.
babe, princess, and she gets mad, and I'll fix it myself.
That's okay. I'll take care of it myself.
Fine. That's up to you. Just don't come around here asking for my help anymore.
I just know at the end of that scene, and I wonder if this was unintentional, he goes and he sits down on that bench, or on that swing on the porch, and one side just collapses. And it doesn't feel like that was something that was meant to happen. It feels like an accident. But he went with it. The actor went with it, so they left it in the movie.
There's a slight smirk on his mouth, so I wonder if he just felt like... Because if he broke character, it would be unusable.
Yeah.
And so if maybe he was this close to breaking character...
Well, yeah, he looks up.
Yeah.
If it was an accident and he stuck with it, it was like perfect. Yeah.
But in the second movie, April O'Neil now is a different actor, so I'm not putting her down, but I think the Hogue had the best sort of chemistry or the best screen presence. But anyway, so in the second film, April O'Neil walks in to the apartment where the turtles are, and she's like, "Where's Splinter?" And one of the turtles says like, "Oh, he's up on the roof."
He's been up on the roof ever since he saw your report.
Doing what?
Coming.
There's such a long pause before he finishes his statement.
To a decision.
What's he been doing up there? Coming.
to
a decision.
Yeah. Well, I don't watch the second movie very often. So just a couple of days ago, I watched it. I was watching and I was drawing, and that made me stop and go, "What the fuck? Like, why didn't he just coming? What? I don't remember that from the film.
For an hour, yeah.
Good Lord.
I've never even seen the third one.
That was when I knew I grew up. When I didn't even want to see it in the theater.
Did that even hit theaters? I thought that went straight to video.
No, that came to theaters.
Okay.
But it looks so like they didn't have the Jim Henson Company doing the animatronics, and they look awful.
So Jim Henson Studios was involved in the second one then? Because
Yeah.
they looked like the same sculpts, but a little bit more cartoony.
They're a
in the
little,
second.
yeah, like the edges are shaved off a little bit. They look
Yeah.
a little more kid-friendly, but it was...
Their eyes are like a little bigger in
Yeah.
the second movie, and they have a little bit more cutesiness in their expressions and stuff.
Yeah, they all look a little bit more like Michelangelo looks in the first movie.
I agree.
But then, yeah, you get to the third movie, and they have like weird liver spots all over it.
Do you think I could possibly live without a single microchip?
And their mouths just kind of open and close.
Like a flap.
Yeah.
That first movie really grabbed all the best elements of the Mirage comics, of the cartoon, of making a great movie at a relatively low budget with shadows and camera angles that favor the Ninja Turtles so that you can't always see that really hideous looking seam that's across their neck. You see it a few times.
It's pretty apparent in some parts, yeah.
And it looks like they've been, like their neck has been sliced and then they survived.
I think the idea is that it's just supposed to look like wrinkles or something.
I've
so
always
that's
excused it as wrinkles.
Yeah, that's fine. So that's the Ninja Turtles movie, I guess.
Coming.
So in 2014, it was the first time I met you in person, and I came on the set of Space Cop the movie. And Classic movie.
Yeah.
Beloved.
The first time
beloved is Ninja Turtles 3.
But the first time I met you, you were in Space Cop gear, automatically, very intimidating. But
Deal me in.
this is Solitaire. The rest of the day after you had shot your scenes, you and I were extras in the background of every single shot. Do you remember this of the bar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're the lead of the movie, and you're also a background extra in the same scene.
Which I think is great. I had a great time. But the reason I bring it up is because that was probably the primary topic of our conversation, was we were talking about Ninja Turtles. So this was like our first conversation other than our lines in the movie together. Was us sitting in the background, kind of making sure our heads weren't in the shot. It was just our figures, and us talking about. I was sketching a Space Cop thing on the bottom of the release form, and talking about the Ninja Turtles and just our love for the comics and what they turned into. And this was before I drew anything with the Ninja Turtles. This was. I feel like this is some sort of.
Were you not doing the TMNT versus
No,
Batman yet?
That didn't happen until late 2015.
Oh shit!
And so October 2014 was whenever I came in for the Space Cop thing, and then that same visit was when we reviewed How to Become a Teenage Ninja, that VHS, where we had our first conversation about the Ninja Turtles on camera. It was like a fresh conversation, like a replay of a conversation we just had at the bar.
Do you remember in that second Ninja Turtles movie?
Do you remember Vanilla Ice?
Do you remember the Vanilla Ice, the ninja rap?
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Frank Miller wrote that. He wrote the lyrics to that song. Did you know that?
I had the biggest, it tickled me so much whenever I had jokingly said that, or one of us said, Frank Miller had written the lyrics to the Vanilla Ice, Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. And I know I was the one who made the joke of like updating his Wikipedia. I'm going to update his Wikipedia page. That actually happened. People have been updating his Wikipedia. I'm sure as a joke, but a persisting joke that still sometimes happens, that Frank Miller wrote the lyrics to Go Ninja Go.
Definitely do not go to Wikipedia and go to Frank Miller's Wikipedia.
Don't do this.
And add that he wrote the ninja rap from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
That would be wrong.
Yes. Fake news. Don't do it.
This looks pretty good. Hope I get to watch this today.
Who are you?
I'm Tim. Who are you?
I'm Josh. We've never met before? Shit. So now that we've met, you want to sit in the stuffy warehouse and watch movies for a really long time?
Please.
Why don't you pick up one of those and tell me about it?
I'll pick up this one.
Hey!
Demons at the Door. Hard rockin' horror. Music horror. Music by Insane Clown Posse. Satan has declared war on mankind. The battle lines are drawn, and the final battle for survival of mankind depends on the courage and faith of 5 troubled humans who each have their own terrible secrets to deal with while trying to survive against the hordes of hell. One sentence. Events are about to be set in motion which could announce the arrival of Armageddon. The end of existence is all at hand, and the demons are at the door.
Okay. That sounds perfectly,
What else do you have? I was so looking forward to that enema. Oh, my sphincter is quivering with anticipation, boys.
Insane Clown Posse.
See, that's I'm in for that.
Me too.
I'm down to clown.
I hope they show up.
Oh, well, it just says music by. I think,
Yeah.
you know, perhaps there will be some Joker cards.
Ooh.
Or Hatchet Man.
A clown-looking demon.
That's all I know about the Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah. They were religious once.
For a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Do you know if they ever figured out how magnets work?
Magnets, how do they work?
They don't want to know how magnets work, Jay.
Oh.
Because of their faith.
Okay.
I don't want to hear from a scientist.
Ruin my videotapes? F you.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my lord. They call me the tickler.
This is what we believe was our first encounter with Satan himself.
Why do you think this is Satan? It looks like some kind of animal. Maybe a wolf.
I don't believe in all these demons.
Are you sure?
Do you have anything besides this picture to back this up?
Do you have any evidence to back up this evidence?
Yeah, but where's the camera that took it?
Look, this is all just so hard to believe.
Well, Josh, that was something. Why don't you tell us about our next movie?
Well, I have it right here. It's called Evil Tunes.
Nice.
This dude is rude. 4 sexy college girls are hired to clean a deserted mansion and unwittingly release a devilish demon. Womp womp. When it springs to life from Book of Black Magic, things get nasty fast.
Like pee on me nasty?
Does the box say who's in the movie?
Oh, Lord. Monique Gabrielle, a favorite of ours. David Carradine, I assume for about 3-4 seconds. Dick Miller, everybody's favorite Dick Miller. I love Dick Miller.
Dick Miller?
Yeah, Dick Miller.
He makes me call him Richard.
Isn't Dick Miller how David Carradine died?
Oh!
Milling
Well, I'm too scared. My brain won't work.
What? I forgot that part. I'm so scared. My brain don't work.
Is a great bit of dialogue and acting in combination.
Yeah.
You scared my brain won't work.
No, Harold Ramis did it better.
Sorry, Beckman. I'm terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought.
I'm too scared. My brain won't work.
How long have I had these?
I'm so ashamed of my giant boobs.
What?
Evil tunes? I thought you said evil tits.
Evil boobs.
Evil boobs.
We're gonna have to remake the entire movie.
Okay, Tim, it's time to watch another movie, but only one more.
One more?
Mm-hmm.
How about this one? Night Killer. Claudio Fragasso delivers the goods. Spectacularly scuzzy and derelict on every level.
That's what I need.
You simply won't know what hit you. Its bonkers conclusion had our jaw on the floor.
Is that a quote or?
Yeah, that's from bloodydisgusting.com. And the first one was from monsterhuntermoviereview.com.
Gotcha.
Mastered from the original negative. We really needed to know that.
It's gonna look real nice.
Very nice. Somewhere between Zombie 4 and Troll 2, writer-director Claudio Fragasso set out to direct a suspense thriller about a suicidal beauty and an unstable sleazebag and a masked killer with a razor-fingered glove.
This sounds amazing.
But when the producers received Fragasso's oh my God, this is just into it. But when the producers received Fragasso's cut, they hired his former partner, Bruno Mattei.
Oh no!
Okay.
You know exactly what we're getting into.
I didn't realize Bruno Mattei had anything to do with
Oh, shit, okay.
The Other Hell and Robo War, to shoot additional scenes of graphic gore and released it in Italy as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Wow. Jesus Christ.
What a shit show.
Oh, man.
The result is a part sicko giallo, part depraved slasher, and 100% batshit insanity that Eurofever calls disturbing, nasty, more inspired than most Italian horrors of the early 90s.
More inspired, okay.
Peter Hooton and Tara Buckman star in this glorious slice of Italo sleaze, co-written by Ursula Drudi.
Sure.
And now scanned in 4K.
You know what?
Fragazzo.
You know what 4K doesn't help with?
What?
Script.
Shit.
The music, though.
This is like Beverly Hills Cop music. What is happening?
I love a bowl of coffee in the morning.
I was thinking the same thing. That's the size of a soup bowl.
I won't kill you straight away. First, I'm going to fuck your brains out.
I've had enough.
You know, you want to hear a guy out.
He lost me. I fucked my brains out. Then I'm hanging up.
What if she were
Doubt it.
What if she were just a nice little twist?
That sounds good. Come on over.
Oh, it's Mr. Plinkett. Or it's Russell Crowe.
It must have been that.
It's Russell Crowe as Mr. Plinkett.
Oh my God. We're in a spooky cave.
How did we get here?
I mean, I'm already blacked out. How did we? Where?
The last thing I remember was I was staring in a mirror with my shirt off, and I was wondering about my sexuality.
Look, I know how we got here, okay?
Nobody else seems to remember, but it's actually a pretty funny story. You see? Oh my god! Oh my god! It's a giant spooky spider! Oh my lord! Is it gonna come for us?
I think it wants to hear us talk about movies first.
Oh, maybe it'll just fall asleep as we talk endlessly about these particular films.
Well, gentlemen, another Halloween. 1 year closer to the grave we are.
Thank God.
1 year we are released from our mortal coil and our obligation to watch bad movies until we die.
We have them here.
We do.
They were wrapped up nicely by Shelob back there, apparently.
You fucking nerd. Shelob?
Our first film is called Demons at the Door.
Oh yes, I would be glad to hold this.
Featuring music by the Insane Clown Posse. So this starts off as a horror film about there's scientists outside of a door in the desert, presumably in the Middle East, because a 58-year-old Wisconsin Harley-Davidson man shows up who has missing teeth.
Playing an Arab.
Missing from smoking. He shows up in a turban pretending to be an Arab, threatening the scientists at the door. For some reason, and he has a bomb.
The slut speaks the truth! Behold the instrument of your destruction!
Because, of course, he's an Arab.
He has a timer for a bomb.
And he's very mad about the fact that these scientists are poking around a door to hell that they've uncovered in the desert.
Yeah.
You Americans have no, how you say it, balls? Let the woman go, and I'll show you more balls than you could swallow.
They're there to guard the scientists for whatever reason, because they were sent by the Vatican and or the CIA to help with the secret mission to investigate the door to hell.
I think they were sent by the Vatican posing as the CIA to obscure the Vatican's involvement.
Right, yes.
Okay.
They show up and there's an altercation in the beginning.
It's very exciting.
It's pretty
a very exciting, action-packed opening.
And we meet our hero.
Oh, that's right. You radical fucks would rather blow innocent women and children up. Come on, pussy. Come and give the Duke a try.
Yeah,
the
Duke.
try.
Oh, yeah! Take your best shot, you butt on this! I'll rip your black fucking heart out! Come on!
Lou Ferrigno with hair plugs.
No, Lou Ferrigno's the archangel. Archangel?
No. Smaller Lou Ferrigno.
Okay, I guess they're both Lou Ferrigno.
Man, we'll call him. Well, kind of
with plugs or a wig. We're not sure yet.
I think. They say it's a wig.
Yeah. So someone in the production got some aggression out later in the movie by making fun of that actor and his toupee.
We're calling him a mixture between Wings Hauser and Robert Z'Dar because he has a weird face. There's something wrong with his face.
And his voice.
And Joey Buttafuoco meets Wings Hauser meets Robert Z'Dar meets Lou Ferrigno meets. That's it. That's about it.
The guy from Mask.
The guy from Mask.
Rocky Dennis.
Yeah.
Rocky Dennis.
Yes.
Rocky Dennis.
Yeah, he's an elderly man who's what is the word I learned today, everybody?
Swole.
He's a swole bro.
He's swole, but he's not as swole as the Archangel guy who comes in looking like Schwarzenegger right out of like Mr. Universe competition.
He's Angel Swole.
He's Angel Swole. So
they got a lot of free time in heaven. You're just lifting weights.
That's all he's doing.
Just bench presses.
So more reps.
Yeah.
So our lead guy is he's like a sass one-liner talking kind of like macho.
He has the least clever one-liners I've ever heard.
It's terrible. He's terrible.
Here's 35 cents. Call Ripley, see if he believes this shit. I gotta blow now. Oh, that's right. You gotta blow. Now. It's been a blast.
It's been a blast.
They tried.
I get it.
Did they need three?
Yes, somersaulting.
Well, they barely had one, so.
South Park explosion.
They killed Kenny.
Oh, you bastards.
It's time to blow. No, wait a minute. I gotta blow. Wait a minute, I'm gonna blow you. Wait a minute, no, it's been a blast. I'm out. And then he does like a backflip under the, like the slowly moving cardboard door.
Yeah, the forward somersault.
He's a man who's in his late 60s, early 70s, and he's worked out, and it's his movie career time. It's gonna take off.
He's gonna be the next Schwarzenegger.
And he's got dentures and either hair plugs or a wig.
Yeah.
And then in the post-production, which is what you're talking about,
Yes.
the demon voice that they did later. I'm sure this guy was an asshole. He showed up to set. He's like, I'm a big tough guy. I'm going to be in a movie. And it turned out to be like
I'm the star.
Terrible production. He was probably an asshole. The crew hated him. The director hated him. Everybody hated him. Later on, they're like,
Oh, yeah, I'm going to kill you, you guy in a bad wig.
I'm gonna rip that ugly wig off your head.
they make fun of his
Cocksucker.
toupee. And then the movie ended.
That's all you got out of it.
Come and get some. I'll rip that cheap wig off and wipe my ass with it.
Post-production.
Someone in post-production didn't like that actor. There's plenty to get out of this movie.
Then
this is kind of a
What's the
masterpiece.
plot? What's the plot?
How do you say balls?
You Americans have know how you say it. Balls?
It's the perfect pronunciation
Rich is
of
going to give
balls.
he's going to give a sassy answer. You tell us the plot.
So there is an amulet that broke off in space. We didn't really pay attention to the fucking feed in the
Star Wars
beginning.
crawl in the beginning.
Yeah, the crawl in the beginning. So an amulet broke down, and this amulet, if the devil gets it, will become whole again. The testicle-haired devil, not your run-of-the-mill.
Oh, yeah.
This is a new interpretation of what